Welcome to episode 76 of The Leap Home. Lee Harvey Oswald, Part 1.
In this week's episode, Sam has to come to terms with leaping into Lee Harvey Oswald. Arriving initially in 1963, Sam leaps back and forth on Oswald's timeline, struggling to contain the bubbling mix of Marxism, violence, and arrogance that comes with the character. When a bar fight takes a potentially deadly twist, it looks like Sam might not be able to restrain Oswald's inherent killer instinct. But can Al get through to him? Or is history doomed to repeat itself?
Yeah, and you still behaved like a prude.
Well, what else I was supposed to do? I was a hologram.
Well, it never stopped me. If you could handle my sex drive, you can certainly handle a few of Lee Harvey Oswald's loose neurons.
Good evening, Ian. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, Gerry. You been handling anything lately?
I certainly have, but we won't talk about that.
Less said the better.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps the less said the better about this episode, this double header that we've got in front of us.
Well, yeah, apparently this is pitched as and this annoyed me, a rebuttal to Oliver Stone's excellent JFK movie, which did not require a rebuttal.
Well, I'm not so sure. I can't remember the jet. I've watched it a few times back in the day. I've not watched it recently.
It's a good film.
Yeah, I'm
There's
sure
an
it
updated
is.
version that came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Worth watching as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. You're a bit of a conspiracy nut with regards to this, mind you.
Conspiracy nut.
Yes, you are.
It's something I've read about and have some thoughts about.
You think Oswald wasn't the shooter?
I would not say that.
Anyhow, before we start as well, we should say welcome back, although we've only had a week off. So it's not
Yeah.
We've been nowhere.
But by the time you hear this, we'll have been away on our holidays and back again.
For how long? 8 weeks? Is that what we've had off, do you think?
Well, if you're listening to this on the day of release, it's 31st July.
Is it?
Yeah.
Providing we stick to this schedule.
We definitely will.
Of course.
Always do. Before we get right into these things, let's rattle off the socials. They have not changed over the summer break. We are still at Leap Home Podcast. It would be very rogue of us to change the Twitter and Facebook handle between the seasons. The website remains theleaphome.com. There are still show notes there for every episode. And you can still find each and every episode 1 week early on our YouTube channel, Columbo Podcast Productions. So go there, like things, comment on things, follow the channel, and hit that notifications button to be alerted every time a new episode pops up.
I generally do not like 2-part episodes of TV shows, and this did not persuade me otherwise. I think it's bloated. I don't think that it added anything, and I would suggest in this case, as with other shows, it's generally just an executive technique, a network technique to encourage people to watch a show at the end of a season or a new season. You also get the feeling that perhaps the writers might put a 2-parter in order to try and artificially inflate their true audience to get a new season. Or
well, certainly with the ending to last season, not that it was part of the 2-parter, but the Oswald trail. I felt that was maybe, give us a season 5.
And I was looking forward to it. I've not seen this before. And I thought it could have been a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with 2-parters that I find quite often is they've got this big setup in the first part, and then there's never a payoff that matches up to the setup. But we'll deal with part 1 today.
Mm-hmm.
Although, we should say it did originally air as a 2-hour-long special.
We won't be doing that.
We certainly shall not. I've not watched the second half yet, so well, I have, but in the 90s. So,
Okay. Are you ready?
I am.
Let's crack on.
They are playing fast and loose with the format right from the beginning here.
Yes, we have a new, less good dramatic theme tune. And that's always a sign, I think, that a show is on its way out. They're trying to reinvigorate something by any means.
A desperate move.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit, I think it was at season 4 of TJ Hooker. It
Right.
done the same, but new credits with new sort of neon 80s signs and a synthesised score.
Right.
Try to make it more modern, more appealing to. And when you do that, you're grasping at straws, I think.
The classics don't have to play with their credits.
The classics don't even need a theme tune.
Well, Columbo didn't have a theme tune. Star Trek kept the same theme tune, more or less. There's a little tweak with the singing and stuff. Yeah. But in this occasion, we don't even get the traditional opening clip. We just go straight into the credits. And then we get a montage after a sort of text screen that says the following story is based upon the, and this is okay. I don't like it when folk present subjective things as objective. This is what they're doing. This is based upon the known evidence and established facts collected in the 3 decades since the JFK assassination, i.e., we know what the truth is, and here it comes.
If I was going to defend it, what you can say is you can base something on evidence and facts, but interpret them in different ways. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't necessarily mean this is true. It's just we've used the evidence, and then we have decided that means this.
Yes. Okay. It's a subjective interpretation of the objective facts. Yeah. But then, are there objective facts in this case? There's only some.
In any case, as you mentioned, we've got a tense military score played over many, many images of the Kennedys, and we're given a leap range this time.
Yeah, so first of all, we get lots of JFK photos, then we get lots of Oswald photos, then more JFK, then Oswald photos, as we arrive at the garden where we saw Sam last.
What is the date range?
It's the 5th of October 1957 to the 22nd of November 1963.
So we're in this backyard. It's the picture of Oswald that we saw at the end of last week's episode.
And as we learn from Al later, this is not uncontroversial in itself.
Now, for some reason, this annoyed me.
What did?
Sam has his hair styled in the same way as Oswald.
Yeah, sometimes he does this and sometimes he doesn't.
Does he really?
So we've seen him with different hairstyles in different episodes that are roughly...
When he leaps into a woman, he doesn't
grow long hair.
When he leapt into a chimp...
He was a bit chimpy.
His hair wasn't.
But there are other episodes where he's got longer or shorter hair depending on who he's leaped into.
See, I can't remember that.
Yeah.
But this is not that. But yeah, but it's not just to.
This is very much more.
This is him trying to look like have the same hair. And I will say this: it's not a good look for Scott Bakula. He doesn't have the hair for it. He's obviously receding. He's got a little tuft at the start with a patch of grey hair that he's got, and it doesn't look good at all on him. It's a bad look for Scott Bakula.
An unattractive man, you would say.
In this case, it's just not. Yeah,
he's not making the most of his natural assets.
No.
We get a bit of a surprise almost straight away here.
What's that?
This woman, who we will learn is Marina Oswald, asks Sam in Russian whether she's taken enough photos of him dressed as a fascist killer, and he responds in Russian.
Instinctively, yes. This entire episode reinvents the rules that we have become used to.
It changes them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It ignores them and then creates new rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've discussed this many times, but Sam, if he can't speak Russian, he's just...
Well, this is what they're pushing is that Oswald is so insidious. And we'll get to this because I've got a lot to say about that.
That really grated.
The idea that Oswald's mind is so evil, so twisted, that it is partially controlling the whole episode.
It's quite obnoxious and repulsive.
I mean, we could talk about it now if you want.
Sure, go for it.
I don't understand. They're presenting Oswald as the ultimate evil when he's just a guy who shot a guy, even if he did what they say he did.
No, but you do understand. I understand it. I think we do. It's the fact. It's the Red Scare. He's a commie. It's this. He has to be the epitome of evil. If he's a communist, if he's not a capitalist, USA, he is scum. And it's not. We can get there. It's just because he had socialist leanings.
Yeah, even if he was a militant Marxist, it's still not the root of it. He still isn't such an evil person that this would happen, more so than when Sam leapt into the guy in death row.
But you need to remember, we've seen it in this show before. That is actually how certain people would have thought, certainly back in the 50s and the 60s. If you were someone who had left-leaning tendencies...
You're on a list.
You were evil.
Yeah.
You wanted to bring down the good old-fashioned democracy in the Western way.
Yeah. And that's a very right-wing thing to do.
Of course,
to create these lists and alienate people.
It's deplorable.
It's the forerunner to cancel culture.
Yeah.
Which they all hate now.
Yeah, anyway, where were we?
Marina calls Sam Alec, which we learn later spelled A-L-I-K. Mm-hmm. And he's still trying to figure out what's going on, but he's not happy with her, and he gives her a bit of a slap. Well, first of all, he grabs her by the arm.
Yes. This is.
This is Sam.
Yes, I was going to say, why does he think this is Oswald or someone else? This is what he does.
This fits right in with Sam's behaviour towards women.
Just about every episode, especially when it's a woman and they're not listening or not agreeing with him, he violently grabs them.
And then on this occasion, he does strike her because she laughs at him when making a joke about his Russian and her English.
Yes, so at this point he backs off and he apologises in English and Russian. And he asks her what English words that she knows and is shocked when she repeats him and stating that capitalism exploits the working class. And you get the impression that Sam thinks this is some sort of rhetoric that, as communists would be brainwashed with, but it does. That is the purpose of capitalism.
True.
It is true. Yes, this isn't something that can be denied. That's what it does. And before people, assume that we are communists, or we're not saying that is a solution, but I think if you look at the world around us over the last 20, 30 years, capitalism only benefits certain types of people, and it is massively broken. And you can see,
exploits the people who are producing the labour, yeah.
Of course it does, yes. There might not be anything better or anything that actually is achievable other than in theory, but to suggest that it's perfect or it's even desirable, capitalism is a disgusting system for the majority of people.
Yeah. As we can see just by looking around.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, this isn't a political
show.
No,
it's not a political show. But
they're making it political, so we have to...
As you say, she says this, and he says that her English is better than his Russian, and she says that he knows many words, but sometimes he speaks like a child, which infuriates Sam, who thumps her. And I think we're supposed to think this is out of character for him, but if it's out of character, it's only barely out of character, because he is always aggressive towards women, especially when they won't listen to him. Sam doesn't like that.
No.
So there's nothing here for me that says this is something wrong, or Sam
maybe slightly exaggerated.
But very slightly. It's only a little beyond what we've seen from Sam before.
Yes, he's one step away from this in many episodes.
This wouldn't be a completely out of character escalation if we weren't being told this is an evil man doing this to Sam.
And again, I think, just to hammer it home, it has shown us someone who is not a right-wing hawkish capitalist is a wife beater. He's a terrible... I mean, the irony is as well.
There is, I think, reports of Oswald beating his wife.
Sure.
Still. And I don't think that was rare. I think there'll be plenty of folk who are right-wing folk beating their wives then and now.
Of course.
So I don't think it's a sign of communism.
Back then, you might have to give her a backhander to keep her in her place, and that wouldn't be... You'd beat your children as well to keep them in place.
It would be wrong, but it wouldn't be a sign of moral depravity to society at that time.
No.
Anyway, Sam offers a clearly insincere apology. He's clearly more concerned about himself, having this, why did I do this, rather than how does she feel about it. And she gets upset and goes off to do some housework. Yes,
leaving him to wonder who he has leapt into, as he notes that the paper he's holding is dated March the 21st, 1963.
He sees Oswald's rifle that he was holding in the photograph and sat down earlier. He picks it up and looks through the sights, and suddenly he can picture himself targeting JFK in the back of his car in Dallas before he leaps. He does into a shooting range. Yes, it's Japan, 1957. As a senior soldier, I think it's Sergeant Lopez, laughs at his panic but notes that he will qualify as an expert marksman. Is this Lopez? Yes. Lopez is the guy in the bar. Is it the same guy? Same guy. Okay. So at this point, Sam accidentally offends the guy by talking to him in Russian, which gets him a slap on this occasion. As well as getting a slap, he gets his nose tweaked, and then there's a bit of a to and fro about the distance to the target. Yes. I mean, we should say, I think that Sam is mimicking Lopez, his Hispanic accent, and also we find out that he's got a reputation, Sam, or Oswald, as a loudmouth asshole. Yes. Sam prepares to take another shot, and he asks how far is to the target. And I think it's 500 yards. Now, I assumed that you're the expert on the JFK assassination. Is 500 yards about the distance from the book depository to the target? It's probably not a million miles off. Yeah. I don't know the figure off the top of my head. Yeah, I could have told you 5 years ago, but I was right into all this stuff. I'm assuming that's what they're trying to get at. If he can make that shot, they'd be able to make that shot at that distance. Okay.
but also he's able to remember that he was a reasonable shot on his
Yes,
firearm.
we get that in voiceover.
Yeah, but there's no Swiss cheese with this. So it's just so selective, isn't it? He can remember that he was a decent shot. Not that he lived in a farm, but very specifically that he was an okay
He's got
shot.
some very, very specific memories and some very, very specific exclusions. It's odd sometimes.
Yeah. In any case, his shot goes wide as just when he pulls the trigger, what happens?
Al shows up and shouts at him.
Yeah, he thinks it's appropriate to appear right in front of him. Why would you do that?
It's just idiocy from Al, really.
You're only encouraging him to make, himself to put himself in an awkward situation in front of the people who actually exist.
Because we know Al can see him before he appears.
Yeah.
So he's done this on purpose.
So he knows he's going to look like a fool, or he's going to look suspicious to Lopez.
Yeah, but this ties back into what we know about Oswald, because he then is certified as a sharpshooter but not an expert shooter, which is one of the big things, the big threads in the conspiracy is, could Oswald have made the shot that killed Kennedy? And it's the fact that he is a certified sharpshooter is part of that narrative.
Yeah. Without like doing that rabbit hole, it's like, well, you have to get some sort of sharpshooter anyway. So if they'd employed someone else to make the shot.
Yeah, but Oswald's shot is harder than the shot that other people think was made. So some folks say the guy in the front of the car made a shot. You don't need to be a sharpshooter for that. Grassy knoll, much closer to the car.
Oh, right, yeah. But remember as well, he didn't. How many shots did he reel off? 3 shots?
3 apparently.
Yeah, and only one hit the target. So it's
Well, 2 hit people in the car.
but he wasn't trying. He was trying to hit Kennedy, so he only had a 33% success rate. So it's not exactly like it was one shot and he got it.
Well,
He had 3 goes. So yeah, it wasn't a particularly sharp shot.
That's a very small
66%.
target.
66% failure.
A moving target, that's a difficult shot to take.
Well.
Anyway, yes, as you say, Al notes that being a sharpshooter is not a bad result, and then reminds Sam that he's still, or informs Sam that he's still Oswald.
But again, Sam does his thing as usual. He just talks to Al in front of, right beside someone else.
Yep. And then he gives the sergeant more lip.
Yes, and then when he walks off, he tries to explain to Al why he's acting in such a way.
I know.
Then why'd you do it?
I didn't.
Excuse me, I heard you.
You heard the words come out of my mouth, but I didn't say them.
You're scaring me, Sam.
Well, you're not alone. Maybe this has something to do with leaping twice into the same person.
What twice?
I leaped into Oswald in '63. At least that's what the newspapers I was holding said it was. March of '63.
Well, how'd you know you were Oswald?
Marina was taking my picture. You know that famous picture with the rifle and the newspapers?
That photograph is a fake. Yeah, Oswald's face is superimposed on somebody else's body to frame him.
But Marina took it.
How do you know she was Marina?
I called her Marina, and she called me Alec.
Well, there you see. You weren't Oswald. All we have to do is ask Ziggy to trace the name Alec to anyone working at the CIA or the FBI.
What?
Alec was the name Oswald used in Russia. And that's the name Marina used to call him. But that doesn't mean she's the one that took the picture, and it doesn't mean that you were Oswald.
I was Oswald.
How can you be so sure?
I could feel him in me.
In you?
You know how there's always a little residual of the other person left behind in a leap? You know, like a little of their knowledge, their personality, or maybe even a little bit of their soul?
Oswald didn't leave a little anything in you, Sam. When you leap into someone, you're still Dr. Sam Beckett, with your personality, your knowledge, and you... Where'd you learn to feel stripping M1?
Al's quite right here. This is what's been established.
Yes.
Sam is Sam when he leaps.
Mhm.
He knows what Sam knows. Not everything, because he forgets stuff, but he can read hieroglyphics, he can do physics, he's a mathematician, all these things. It's been well established over 4 seasons.
Yeah, when he was a boxer, he couldn't box. When he was a pool player, he couldn't play pool because it wasn't within his skill set.
But the communists are so evil.
God. Sam continues to insist that he is Oswald, while Al argues against him, but does concede that maybe he has a little bit of him in him. What part and where?
Awkward.
Yes. Sam suggests that he has a lot in him, and that reminds him of the time that they both swapped places, and he still acted like the prude he is.
Well, hang on.
Okay.
He's not meant to remember that. We've literally gone through a whole discussion where they said Sam won't remember this He's already forgotten his wife. He doesn't remember the fact that we even leaped into each other. That's stated explicitly, canonically, as fact in the show, in the previous season. Sam does not recall when he and Al switched places.
Season 5. It's a
new rules.
Reboot of the logic, yeah. And we heard at the top of the podcast, Al mentioning this. But Sam is worried that he will end up assassinating the president. And I think that's the thing as well. If you leap into Oswald and you're saying that Oswald was the shooter, then it's like okay, so I won't do it. Simple.
Yeah.
So there has to be something here. Yeah, there has to be something here that it changes.
I renounce communism.
But Al points out it's only 1957.
And he also says that a lot of people think that Oswald didn't even do the assassination.
Yeah.
Sam remembers or recollects the story of when he learned about the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, he's able to recall the exact day of the murder and what he was doing on the farm.
Yes, and his mother came rushing out to tell him the news.
But he wants to know what he's doing in 1957 if he is apparently there to stop the assassination. And Al informs him that this is where it may have started, the whole...
this is a bit woolly.
In Japan, yeah.
So he's left here maybe to be contacted by the KGB. Al's just guessing, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's just one of these things. If he's there to stop it, just stop it.
Yeah. Al says that maybe it wasn't the KGB, maybe it was the CIA or the FBI.
Yeah, and this confuses Sam as he wasn't aware that the Russians were behind it, as Oswald was a radar operator with Max 1 and knew about U2, the codename race car.
Al explains that with this knowledge, Oswald would have been a prime target for the KGB.
And at this point, Sam slips back into Oswald's personality and has to be calmed down and assured that he can handle it. And Al is confident that they're going to change what happens in Dallas. This isn't allowed. And in any case, if it's okay for them to leap about and change macro, big, the big history, as it were, they could do this in every leap. Like, wherever they are, there'll be certain events in time where Sam, knowing what he knows, could really make a big impact on society, but he doesn't, because that's not what he's...
Yeah. So we think he's probably not going to stop the assassination then?
I'd like to think not.
Did you watch the TV adaptation of the Stephen King book?
I've not, no.
It's worth watching.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's along similar lines. Just not quite as preachy or...
Shit.
Yeah.
Al leaves and tells Sam to hang in.
And Sam prays that Al was right before we leap to 1999.
Yes, the 14th of February.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we've got a nice POV flying shot over Stallions Gate, New Mexico, before we see Al questioning Oswald, who initially denies who he is in a very sort of snarky manner.
He asks Al about the hand link and is told it's a tape recorder.
And then insists that he is not obliged to say anything. Al agrees that he's not obliged, then says, but you're obliged to tell the truth. That's not how speaking works. If you're not obliged to speak, you're not obliged to tell the truth either.
Yeah. I find it a bit weird how they do these waiting room shots. So he should look like Sam.
Yeah, but you're seeing it from Al's point of view.
I thought Al saw people as Sam and Sam as other people. Then they changed that at some point, didn't they?
No, but if we see...
Remember when Sam was a woman, Al was perving on him?
Yeah, but if we see Sam, we should see... If we see Sam in the Leapy's body, then...
So it's from our point of view now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, but then last time when it was young Al, did we not see him as Sam at some point?
No, I'm getting confused. I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah, Al types into the hand link and then rhetorically asks if he is really Oswald, who nervously realises that the device is, in fact, no recorder, before Al gets him to admit who he really is.
Who's Alex Adele?
Oswald Lee Harvey, private first class, serial number 1653230.
Not a prisoner of war.
All members of the proletariat are prisoners in the class struggle.
I thought you were a member of the Marine Corps.
My status as a Marine does not alter my membership in the exploited and oppressed class into which I was born.
I was joking.
I was not!
Take it easy, kid. I'm on your side.
Then I'm free to leave?
No, not exactly.
Then I'm a prisoner.
Okay, all right. You're a prisoner of the proletariat.
I'm a prisoner of the bourgeois and a member of the proletariat. You don't know your marks, do you?
After 6 years in the Hanoi Hilton, I tend to repress it.
Where?
That's where I was held as a prisoner of war, and where they didn't give a damn about the Geneva Convention. Now, were you ever approached by a foreign agent in Japan?
That depends. Are you a foreign agent, Al? That's your name, isn't it? Al. How did I know your name?
You're part of an experiment. A new way of communicating through the mesons and neurons of the mind.
You mess with my mind? What else have you messed with?
So that scream we heard there was caused by him seeing his reflection.
Sam's reflection, yeah.
Yeah, and Sam's face staring back.
Right, that whole section was garbage.
Yes.
That is, it's typical, as you say, sort of, we're scared of the communist stuff. Oh, all they talk about is communism. If you speak to a communist, he'll try and recruit you and he'll tell you about how terrible the bourgeois are and how he's a member of the oppressed proletariat.
It's a bit like how you right-wingers don't want you to talk. If you meet a homosexual or a transgender, they'll try and make your kids gay.
If you mention them in school, don't mention them in school. If you don't mention them in school, your kids will definitely not be gay.
Anyway.
They're too young to learn about the gays in school.
Where do we find ourselves next?
We're in this sort of Max radar bubble.
What does Max stand for? Max 1, I think it is, yeah.
It's some kind of acronym anyway. Air control.
Is it?
Military air control.
Right. You're just guessing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's 6th October 1957, and Sam's an operator alongside a team of workers who are communicating with Race Car, which is an aeroplane. That's a code name.
Yeah. So this was mentioned in the previous scene.
Yes.
So we haven't seen Sam leap, but he has leapt.
No.
And I think this is him just arriving and kind of recombobulating as he assesses the situation. But he seems to have the skills required to...
Well, you'd imagine that Sam would have those that's to do with mathematics and engineering, that type of
He seems to know what to write on the screen, but he doesn't know how to write it.
No, I mean, I think he actually says he's enjoying this work. Yes, it's a glass screen, but he writes it so that he can see it as opposed to his colleagues on the other side of the
It must be a bit tricky to write backwards, though.
Oh, yeah. It's one of his skills, I think, you would learn.
He's mocked. Well, the guy makes sort of a rabbit face at him and calls him something. I didn't catch what he called him. But, this angers Sam, who snaps at him.
In Russian.
Yeah. And when the commanding officer intervenes, Al has to show up and remind Sam to call him sir.
Yeah, and again, he does his thing by openly talking to Al in this confined environment.
Right in front of these people, yeah.
Yeah. I think he says to Al that he's unable to control, so he's panicking, he's worrying here that a communist is going to take over his body.
What's happening is he's realising his own tendencies and he's scared of them.
One of the radar guys tells the lieutenant that they have Race Car on the screen, but that he must have been over 30,000 feet above the world altitude record.
Yeah, and he's told that he's not calculated that right because that sort of information would be top secret and let's just not think about it.
Sam works out that Race Car is in fact a U-2 plane. Is there more than one, or is it U-2, or is that just one?
I think U-2's the type.
Type, right, okay.
But again, he mentioned that Race Car being a U-2 when he was in Japan.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He thinks that Oswald must be passing this on to the Russians, and Al tells him that is what they'll find out, and that is likely the KGB will make contact at a local bar.
Apparently so. So we head to this bar where Sam is welcomed to this venue by a larger gentleman in a white face paint. Is there a name for this sort of?
He's a male geisha type.
Yeah, is there a word for that?
I'm sure there will be in Japan and Japanese, but we're not informed of that. Yeah. It's in the 7th of October 1957 now, and it's one of these American bars in Japan, so it's playing American music and it's the GIs and all that type of stuff.
We're in a town called...
An obnoxious type of place, I'd imagine.
I would think so. The town's called Negashaya Tomato.
Or tomato, as you might say in the States.
You say, yeah.
Yeah, this guy's called Joda.
He asks Sam for some information, but Sam is not willing to share.
Yeah, he, I think, says that he heard that Max 1 are up to some secret business, and also that the troops might be leaving Japan soon. And he wants to know if this is the case, but Sam is not forthcoming with info, and I think he just comes out with it and says, "Are you a spy?"
Yes, he's not very subtle.
No. And after feigning indignation, he admits that he would do anything for money and then kisses Sam again.
So at this point, we're post-Korean War, aren't we? So this is going to be between the Korean War and Vietnam period. So everyone's going to be quite tense, but there's not any actual conflict. Now puzzled, he catches himself in the mirror and thinks how unprepared he is for this situation before a working girl approaches him and whispers some special treats that she can provide into his ear, which causes a shocked expression to appear on his face. You can just imagine, it's probably something these days fairly timid. Sam may well think he's turning into Oswald, but it's a very Sam reaction to every woman in this scene.
Oh, yeah.
Proving my point, anyway.
Joda is not happy about this, and neither is another woman. I think her name is Mariska, who grabs the first by the hair and tells her to keep her diseased body away from her marine.
They get into a big fight.
Yeah, on the floor, a bit of a cat fight as it's called, and split up when Sam and Joda drag them apart.
At this point, I think it appears that Joda might be pimping for the first woman because another Marine hands him some cash and makes off with her.
Yeah. Sam sits in a booth or some seats with Mariska, and she tells him in Russian that she loves him as they kiss, which gets an old boy from him in his new language.
Except his Russian skills seem to have deteriorated quite significantly.
Have they?
Well, he says here he can't really understand as well as he could earlier.
Right. I think he's got a bit of a kink about this. He's like, speak to me again in Russian, go on.
Yeah. Well, no, the thing is, so what's happened here is he could understand Russian when he was in 1963.
Yeah. And
now he's led back to a time when Oswald hadn't learned Russian.
Ah, right.
So he doesn't have the same knowledge anymore, and he's saying, I don't have so I want to hear more Russian to see what's the situation.
This annoys her, as she thinks that is the only reason that he comes to see her, so he can learn and hear Russian, and then advises him that there are a lot of other girls who can make love to him. Oh, he doesn't like that.
Oh no.
Square Sam almost chokes at her brashness. And then she mentions him going to Russia as he had previously discussed, so going with her.
Sam comes out immediately with his always wanted to go to Russia, the workers' paradise. It's a
cartoon.
If you've got a list of things that communists never said, but are said to say in movies and stuff. Yeah. She, on the other hand, wants to go to America.
Yeah, she knows that he was unhappy there, but says that it'll be different if she's with him.
This leads to a significant fallout.
Well, Sam gets aggressive again and notes how his mother was abused by the capitalist system, and Mariska points out that he is the only Marine that talks like that. Sam gets jealous at this, asks her what she's doing talking to other Marines and what else she's doing with them before choking her. Well, this is extraordinarily abusive here. He grabs her by the throat, the neck, he pushes her back, so her head's tilted all the way back, and obviously implies that she's a prostitute. But this time he kisses her. Yes, this also turns him on. Yeah. Well, the note that I've got here is it seems like Sam's enjoying letting his true personality come through. And at this point, Al reappears, which I think he quite enjoys what he's seeing as well. And Mariska whimpers that she won't talk about America again and they'll go to Russia. This is a horrifying scene. Yeah. For anyone. I mean, she's quite clearly got no agency here at all. She just has to go along with what he's saying. If she wants to get to America. Yeah, she thinks, well, okay, we'll go to Russia first. Yeah. I guess. But, yeah, no, she's beaten down here. Yeah, literally. Yeah. Sam doesn't know what to do, so he leaves for the bathroom where Al follows after perving a bit at the recently abused Mariska. Yeah, he's not worried about that. No. So, in the bathroom, there's a drunk in there, but this isn't a consideration for Sam, who is far more worried about Oswald taking over his mind. And he claims not to know where Oswald starts and ends, and is also ashamed about the way he treated Mariska.
What'd you do?
I treated her like dirt and she threw herself at me.
Works every time. I mean, it shouldn't work. It shouldn't work, and any man would be ashamed of treating a woman like that. Her name's Mariska.
She's part Russian, I think.
Oh. Hey, she could be the KGB agent.
I don't think so. She's teaching Oswald Russian, and sleeping with him.
Oh, you're sleeping with her?
No, I'm not sleeping with her. Oswald is sleeping with her.
Well, what's the difference.
I just met her, okay? I'm not sleeping with her. I don't know her. I just met her, okay?
Okay, don't get so touchy. I just want to make sure you're prepared in case you
You know,
have to sleep.
I'm not
with her.
like you, Al. I don't have to sleep with every woman that I meet just because she's
Well,
there.
you may have to sleep with her to prove or disprove whether or not she's an agent.
What?
Look, female spies have been doing this since Mata Hari to find out military secrets. They sleep.
Yeah, well,
with
except I don't know any military secrets.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
Al, if you were in the KGB, would you hire anyone as conspicuous as Mariska to be your agent?
Well, maybe that's what they're counting on. That our guys would think she's such an obvious choice that they wouldn't pick her, and then they do.
Mariska is no agent, Al. Oswald is just interested in anything or anyone Russian.
How do you know?
How do I? Because I've been spouting his words like a trained parrot, okay? I've been doing his job. I mean, I know him better than his own mother does. I even know what motivates him. Look at this.
Oh, that's the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah, I found this in my locker. In Oswald's locker, right? It's dog-eared, it's underlined, see that? I mean, this is his religion, this is his Bible. His Mecca is Moscow, and his Mohammed is Marx.
You know, I don't ever want to be that close again. A piece of shrapnel tore.
Oh, okay, before...
It's more of the same, isn't it?
Yeah, but let's not ignore Al's appalling attitude there. Like, I'd like to be treated like that. It's almost acceptable if he was just being a little bit mean, say like, not mean, but ignoring her. I won't pander to her and then, women love all that sort of stuff if you ignore them, right? I mean, it's nonsense, but yeah, it's not hugely wrong. But he walked in as he was assaulting her.
Yes, and he's cool with it.
Yeah, and he's like, that's how they like it. Give her a slap, choke her.
Make them keen. That's shocking. Absolutely disgusting behaviour. And then I think we're meant to infer that Sam is angry because of Oswald. Like his mood and his tenor is changed. But I don't know.
No.
The things that he's saying are very Sam things to be saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing he's saying here to although he's angry at Al, he's not saying anything he hasn't said to him before.
No. All that stuff about Muhammad and the religion and...
Oh, this is more communism bad.
He carries it about with him all the time.
Yep, as all communists do.
Underlined as if...
Yep, he's got it in his pocket. It's like the Bible to him, but that's,
Yeah. Anyway, as we heard there, they are interrupted by Lopez and his buddies who insults him and shoves him into a seat when he tries to leave.
Yes, we get that sort of rabbit face insult again.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
That's also meant to be hilarious because Oswald's face is rabbity. I don't know.
Lopez tries to intimidate him, and Al is worried that Sam might be in the process of changing history. But instead of trying to find a peaceful way out, Oswald takes over and he stands and gives Lopez some more lip of his own, even though Al warns him that he'll end up getting his ass handed to him.
Is it Oswald?
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Sam's more than willing to take the fight and gets the initial blow in before being grabbed by the other two men.
Yeah, this ends up spilling out into the bar. They both have their moments, but Lopez eventually comes out on top before a very battered and bloody Sam pulls a gun and holds it to his throat.
Yes, and starts demanding that Lopez teaches him the lesson that he promised him.
Mariska tries to talk him back, but he swipes her to the floor, and he is only stopped when Al gets help from Ziggy and is able to talk him down by asking him questions about physics, which he answers out loud and looks like a complete whack job.
Yeah, he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
So, if in the original history Oswald murdered this guy, how was he then able to do the assassination in the original history?
Yeah, murdered him in a superior officer in a public bar.
Yeah, he's definitely going to prison.
Yeah.
Or being executed.
Yeah, sure.
Doesn't make sense.
I'm not aware enough of Oswald's past. Was this meant to have happened?
Not something I'm aware of.
Right, okay. In any case, he immediately leaps to the Max 9 camp in California on January the 6th, 1959, where a newly stationed soldier asks him for a roster to help him find some of his buddies.
Did you spot what it said on the man's uniform?
Was that Belisario?
Belisario. This is... I'll tell you the story a wee bit later on.
Sam isn't sure what he's looking for, but is helped by Al, who appears and tells him where he is and that he is still Oswald.
Why do we keep leaving into Lee Harvey Oswald?
Well, Ziggy still insists that it's to uncover a conspiracy to stop what happened in Dallas. Sam, is Oswald still in?
No.
Don't know.
Why did I leap out of Japan?
Well, there's some data indicating that originally Oswald killed Sergeant Lopez.
And I was there to stop that.
Well, Lopez saved the lives of 17 Marines at Quezon, and he was given the Congressional Medal of Honor posthumously.
Gotta find the duty roster.
Duty roster. Yeah. Oh, here, duty roster.
Here you go.
Thanks. Do you often read the Daily Worker?
It's the only newspaper that tells the truth.
The truth.
How the United States oppresses the proletariat of the world with its military might.
He's back.
You sound like a communist,
I know.
but you're not.
I'm not what I sometimes sound like.
Oh, good, that's better, Sam.
But if I were, I'd be a Marxist.
If you're a Marxist, what the hell are you doing in the Marine Corps?
I don't know.
He zapped him with his ray gun.
I mean, these are the type of things here that you're meant to think is outrageous. That the American military uses its power, its brute force to...
That's not a controversial statement.
Not at all. That's exactly what they do. And prior to that, it was the Brits.
Yeah,
You know,
they've always got a justification.
Yeah.
Maybe that's right, maybe it's not, but you can't say that they don't do it.
Of course they do, yeah.
This is obviously meant to be Donald Belisario, and this is apparently his recollection of his actual encounter with Oswald.
Really?
But
We heard Sam leap there.
we did. Well, did we? Was that what that was? It's not the normal leapy sound.
No.
It's because it's Oswald. It's an evil leap. He leaps to KGB headquarters October the 21st, 1959. So that is, 9 months on from where we just were?
Was it? Okay. Yeah, where he sits across from a senior officer, a tape recorder, and I think there's like a sort of assistant secretary type waiting to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, so what we're being told here is the KGB never recruited Oswald. He went to them, desperate to give them information and be on their side.
He has defected and has let it be known that he's willing to talk about what he's learned in the Marines.
Sam, in this position, resists very briefly before rattling off top secret information as the episode ends with another montage, including, I think, some photos that must be from next week's episode.
Yeah. To be continued.
Ooh.
There we go.
As we've said, I think they're very much overplaying the evils of communism and of Oswald in particular here.
Yeah.
I don't think he was one of the most evil men in history. Even if he did do what they say he did, that wouldn't make him one of the most evil men in history. Anyway, let's move on with some trivia because we've got another half of this to come next week.
More of the same.
Well, I can get through all the bios now. It's going to be really easy at the end of next week's episode. So this originally aired on the 22nd of September 1992, 4 months after the end of the previous season, directed by James Whitmore Jr. I've heard about him before. This is the 9th of his 15 episodes, and if you want to hear more about him, go back to the podcast for Jimmy in season 1. The writer for this episode, as you might imagine, was Donald P. Belisario. He's probably best known for creating this series, but his CV is relatively extensive and very impressive. He previously developed shows like Magnum P.I., Airwolf, and Tales of the Gold Monkey. And after Quantum Leap, he continued to create successful shows, including the JAG or JAG and the NCIS series, which I think is still running. Out with his own shows, he's written for Kojak, Battlestar Galactica, 6-time Emmy nominee. He's been nominated for a WGA award. He's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Co-created Quantum Leap with the third of his 4 wives, Deborah Pratt. And of his 9 children and stepchildren, 2 were producers on the show and another 2 appeared on screen. As this episode suggests, he served alongside Lee Harvey Oswald in the US Marine Corps in the 1950s prior to his television career. He's now 88 years old and I would imagine at least semi-retired, even as a number of the shows that he created continue to be produced. Willie Garson, we've heard of him previously on this show. This is his second of 3 Quantum Leaps. He played Lee Harvey Oswald / Alec Adele. He also played Seymour in Play It Again Seymour.
Oh, yes.
Back at the start of the show, well, first season anyway. Interestingly, he's also played Lee Harvey Oswald in the 1992 movie Ruby and on Mad TV. He's probably best known for his role in Sex and the City, but he's also appeared in things like White Collar, Stargate SG-1, Friends, Groundhog Day, and The X-Files. He sadly died from cancer at the age of just 57 in 2021. For all these people, I'm saying it's the first of 2 quantum leaps. The second one's next week. Okay. Natasha Pavlovich, she's an interesting person as well. She played Marina. Although her ancestry is Serbian, she's played Russians, Iraqis, French people, Czechs, Italians, and Roma characters on film. She was the long-term partner of the late Tarzan star Joe Lara. She's a trained pilot. She once flew at 85,000 feet to the edge of space in 2004. After Lara died in a plane crash with his then fiancée, she took part in a documentary called The Way Down, primarily about her, but also about him. I think that's apparently worth a watch. She also appeared in things like Nip Tuck, Alias, Monk, Son of the Pink Panther, and her last screen acting credit was in 2013. She's now 56 years old. Sergeant Lopez, played by Rennie Santoni, first of 2 quantum leaps, also in Dirty Harry, Cobra, Seinfeld, Murder 1, died in 2020 when he was 82. Major Kosenko, played by Ilya Baskin, I think that's the guy you saw at the end in the KGB. Again, first of 2 quantum leaps, also in Spider-Man's 2 and 3. 13 Days, another Kennedy-related film. Angels and Demons, which is good, the prequel to Da Vinci Code. Austin Powers, other things. He's 73, still active. Philip McNiven played PFC Briggs, that's one of the other soldiers. He's interesting. He's also been in ER, CSI, but appeared quite a lot in Scrubs as part of an a cappella group. And he was originally a low-level tennis professional. But his group, The Blanks, included the lawyer from Scrubs, the bald lawyer. If you've watched Scrubs, you'll know who I mean. And he had an a cappella group, and it was his real-life a cappella group. So they appeared multiple times on Scrubs. Sadly, that man, Sam Lloyd, he's since died, but that's Philip McNiven. Joda, the guy in the bar, played by Rodney Kagayama. He's also in Pretty Woman, Teen Wolf, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Married with Children, died in 2018 when he was 77. The girl in the bar was played by Patty Toy. Not the one that he was, not Mariska, the one that was causing the fight. She's also in Speed, ER, Babylon 5, Murder, She Wrote, but her last screen credit was in 2018. Some general trivia. This is the first time that Sam leaps into a real person, albeit a fictionalised character assassination. This episode and the next, as we've said, originally televised as a 2-hour special. It was nominated for and won the Emmy for Outstanding Editing.
Okay.
This is the 7th time Sam has leapt into 1957. Can you remember the others?
Nope.
So Help Me God, Good Night Dear Heart, Future Boy, The Last Gunfighter, The Curse of Tahotep, and A Leap for Lisa. Interestingly, the date in 1999 that we see on the screen for the Quantum Leap facility is earlier than the date from the leap back at the start of the previous season. So, it could be an issue, an error, or it could be that something Sam's done, travelling through time, has caused the entire project to shift forward a year. Who knows?
Possibly.
Timey-wimey stuff. In terms of things that we learned, Al comments that Lee Harvey Oswald's time in Japan was similar to his first tour of duty. I don't know if we can say we learned anything about Sam because we don't know what's Sam and what's not Sam. In respect of on this date, it's just such a long period. I don't think there's any point going into the historical events.
A lot of different leaps. So what we'll do is, in terms of number ones, I'll go through them in leap order here. March 21st, 1963. The UK was The Shadows with Foot Tapper. In the US, it was Ruby and the Romantics with Our Day Will Come. We then go to October 5, 1957. UK had Paul Anka with Diana, and in the US we had Jimmy Rogers with Honeycomb. 14th of February 1999, these are songs we will remember.
Okay.
In the UK it was Lenny Kravitz with Fly Away, whilst in the USA it was Monica with Angel of Mine. October the 6th, 1959. Jerry Keller with Here Comes Summer was the chart topper in the UK, whilst Bobby Darin and Mac the Knife.
That's a very,
very
very
famous
well
one, yeah. Topped the charts in the US. The 6th of January 1959, Conway Twitty, who's now very famous for his cutaways in Family Guy.
Right.
With It's Only Make Believe. He was number one in the UK. And in the US, it was the Chipmunks with the Chipmunk Song.
Do, 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 do.
October 21st, 1959, it was Bobby Darin again on both sides of the Atlantic with Mac the Knife.
Oh, there you go. So that first one, was that Jack Ruby and the Romantics?
Very good.
Next week, more of this nonsense as Belisario tries to make the case that communism is bad and Oswald was inevitable for another hour. So we'll see you somewhere on the Oswald timeline, no doubt.
Until then,
Cheerio.
bye bye.